Hello, folks. Right, I thought with this situation with the virus, and here's me coughing. I ain't got it. I thought I'd entertain you. I thought what I'd do, because there's a lot of lists going around on Facebook, written lists of people's favourite albums and gigs that they've been to and stuff like that. So I thought what I'd do, as quick as I can, I'm going to go through my 20 favourite albums from the 50s and the 60s. Okay, now I'm not saying that these are the best albums. It's purely my choice of my particular favourites. So I've chose 20, and these are albums that I can put on, I can listen from start to finish, and there's no filler. Every track is brilliant. It's a mixed bag. And all of them, they're not in any particular order till I get to the top 5. So they are my 5 favourites, and that never changes. But from 20 down to 6, they're in any order, but they're just albums that I listen to from start to finish. I think they're absolutely fantastic, and every home should have them. So we'll go through them as quick as I can, because I'm not going to bore you. Anyway, number 20. Cream, Disraeli's Gears. Absolutely fantastic. Far better than Led Zeppelin. Everyone loves a bit of Cream, don't they? Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce. Real hard rock, proper stuff. What we've got on here, we've got Tales of Ulysses, which is my favourite actually. Strange Brew, Sunshine of Your Love, Dance the Night Away, amongst many others. Came out about 67, I think. I think it's their last album as well. I think. I know you lot will correct me if I'm wrong. But I've got all the other Cream albums as well, but this one is the best. Absolutely brilliant. Cream, Disraeli's Gears. Get yourself a copy. Going back to the 50s next. Hang on. I'm going back to 1959, and this was tricky. I had a choice of 2 to pick from this album, because the other thing is I'm only picking one album from one artist. I'm not going to pick like 3 Bob Dylan albums and 6 Beatles albums. It's one for each artist, and this one from 1959, after agonising, I've gone for Miles Davis, Kinda Blue. It was between this and In a Silent Way, but I've gone with this because I've got this on CD as well, so I can play this anywhere, and it's absolutely beautiful. Of course, he's the master of jazz. Kind of Blue. I think this was I got this vinyl with a jazz magazine, so I've got loads of info on it. Oops, oh, shite. I'll tell you that later. But yeah, with this one, it was the D'Agostini, the did a jazz series. There's loads of pictures in there from the sessions. I'm not a big jazz fan. I'm not a jazz specialist or anything like that, but Miles does hit the spot. He's just put it on, you just chill, and it's absolutely perfect. Kind of Blue, Miles Davis, and you can pick it up on CD for pennies. I mean, real pennies. And next up, for my mate Martin, he'll love this one. Love, ha, that's what it is. Forever Changes. This always comes in any poll for the best 60s album. This one's always up there, and it is absolutely brilliant. I love the great guitar work on this. Alone Again Or, which was done by The Damned years later. House Is Not a Motel, which is my favourite on the album. Maybe the People Would Be the Times, or Between Clark and Hilldale. Mouth around that one. Arthur Lee and Love from 67. Again, you can pick this up for pennies. All these you can actually get really, really cheap, either on Amazon or down at HMV on CD and stuff. But I treated myself a couple of years ago to a vinyl edition. That's Love, Forever Changes. I'm kind of cheating here, this came out a couple of years ago on Record Store Day, but it is from the 60s. This is beautiful lady, Bobbie Gentry, live at the BBC. It's like a compilation of the best bits from her TV show. And she's absolutely fantastic. On the back of this ended up getting a box set of hers, which is equally as good. Ode to Billie Joe is on this. I'll Never Fall in Love Again, which was the one I fell in love with her with, isn't on this. But it's just a great sounding record. Great versions. Got Mississippi Delta as well. Papa, Won't You Let Me Go to Town With You? I Saw an Angel Die. Ode to Billie Joe, of course. Refractions. It's just a really nice album. This one ain't so cheap if you can find it, actually. It's getting quite rare, but if you can find it, pick it up. It's brilliant. Bobbie Gentry, live at the BBC. Right, first CD here. Now, I'm not folky either, but every now and then when you're reading music magazines and they always come out with these lists, this one always came in like the top 10 folk albums and stuff. And I've ended up being a bit of a fan of these now. Pick up bits and pieces when I see them cheap, but this one is absolutely brilliant. Fairport Convention from 1969, Leaf and Liège, with the beautiful voice Sandy Denny. This is a bit of an expanded edition of the album, a couple of bonus tracks on it. I know there are vinyl copies, but if you can get an original on Island Records, if you find one, buy it because it'll be worth a fortune. Fairport Convention, Leaf and Liège, with Richard Thompson on guitar. I think this was this done after they had the band had a car accident. A couple of members died, if I recall. I think this was the first album back, but it's absolutely brilliant. Come All Years, like a barn stomping, foot stomping, bit of a rocket actually. Renadine and Matty Groves, great like story to it. My favourite on the album, because Sandy sings it absolutely beautiful, is Farewell, Farewell. So that one, if you find that one, Pop Pickers, well worth investigating. Fairport Convention, Leaf in Liège. Carry on with CDs, and 1968. And as we're just coming into the summer, this is a proper summer album. It's one to listen to in the back garden with a nice glass of wine. And it is The Curmudgeon Who Is, Van Morrison, Astral Weeks. Absolutely brilliant album, this. Again, this is an expanded edition I bought a couple of years ago, but I've had the album for many years. And I just love playing it. Mainly acoustic all the way through. Just the guitar and Van Morrison's voice. It's a really languid, slow-paced album. It's really nice. Some pictures in here. No, there's not really, but that's the inside cover. Astral Weeks. Got Madam George. Beside You, Sweet Thing, Cypress Avenue. Really nice album. Again, this particular reissue, I've seen it for pennies in the shops, so you can get it cheap. Yeah, got to have that in your collection. Van Morrison, Astral Weeks. Another CD. I keep meaning to get a vinyl copy of this. But it's where rock started in the 60s. Velvet Underground, the Banana Sleeve. There you go, Velvet Underground and Nico. Another fantastic album from start to finish. And this is an expanded edition. I think it's got mono and stereo versions of the album, but it's just brilliant all the way through. I mean, most of my Facebook friends, you'll have this because they're all music nuts. But the beautiful Sunday Morning, I'm Waiting for the Man, because which was made famous by Bowie, no doubt in that. But I'm Waiting for the Man, All Tomorrow's Parties, which was done even better by Japan a bit later on. Heroin, European Sun, brilliant. Another album from the 60s you have to have in your collection, The Velvet Underground and Nico. Right, and I'll get slated for this, but I don't care. Elvis Presley. That his best album. He went on a bit of a run between 68, 69, 70, and starting off with a comeback special. And this is from Elvis in Memphis. And this is because Elvis didn't write his own stuff, he relied on writers, but he managed to get with a producer who managed to pick all the stuff for him. So on this one you've got In the Ghetto, True Love Travels on a Gravel Road, and favourite on here, Long Black Limousine. It's just a great album. Elvis at his absolute peak, and it all went to shit again. But yeah, if you can find this CD anthology of all these sessions, so you get a load of bonus tracks. That's worth tracking down. There's some even better tracks on that were dismissed at the time. But this is the actual original album from '69. This came out 1969 from Elvis in Memphis. If you only ever get one Elvis album, this is the one. I'm cheating with this. It's a compilation, but it's been in my life all my life because my dad absolutely idolises this group, and this was on constantly in car journeys to Wales on holiday to my grand's, aunties and uncles. We always had these in the car, and then when he came home pissed on a Saturday night, this had come out as well, and his finger and thumb had started going. But it is a compilation, but it's a compilation that did come out in the 60s, and it is The Shadows Greatest Hits. This generally is a fantastic collection. We have Apache, Man of Mystery, FBI, The Frightened City, The Savage, Wonderful Land, which was number 1 for about 8 weeks, I think. It's just brilliant. I will always have a copy of The Shadows in any of my collections for as long as I live. Good choice, Dad. No, I'm not going to do that one yet. I'm going to do this one. It's a bit of an obscurity, this one, but it's Lee Hazelwood and Trouble is a Lonesome Town. And yeah, you're right, it's a country album. Lee Hazelwood's a bit of a genius, actually. The reason I picked this up at the time is because he used to produce Duane Eddy back in the 50s, and then he got into doing his own stuff as well. But this is like a bit of a concept album about the town of Trouble, and it's peopled by characters called Charlie Flood and Emery Zickerfus Brown, whose nickname was Ugly. But it's a fun album. It's really, really well done. Lee Hazelwood. I think he had a hit with Nancy Sinatra. What was it called? Oh, is it Did You Ever? Can't remember. But Lee Hazelwood. It's a bit of an obscurity. If you can track one down, it's worth getting because you'll love it. It's just really funny vignettes done in country style. Brilliant. Back to the 50s. The Everly Brothers. This is a reissue of, I think it was their second album. But again, I was brought up on the Everly Brothers, and they're just absolutely brilliant. On this particular album, This Little Girl of Mine, Bye Bye Love, Be-Bop-A-Lula, All I Have to Do Is Dream, Wake Up Little Susie, Rip It Up. I Wonder If I Care. Every track is brilliant, but this was actually original. It was an original album release. It wasn't a compilation. But everybody knows these tracks, and they were just fantastic. Make sure you get an Everly Brothers in your collection. But this one is, I think, let's say it was their second album in about 58, 59, I think. The Everly Brothers. Staying with that period is the second album from Buddy Holly, who is probably my favourite rock and roller from that period. So this is his second album. The first album was with the Crickets. It was just called Buddy and the Crickets, I think. Oh, sorry, just the Crickets. But Buddy Holly was with them, and then this was the second album, but it was just released with Buddy Holly. And again, Peggy Sue, Listen to Me, Ready Teddy, Every Day, Words of Love. The reason why I think Buddy Holly was like better than, say, Chuck Berry, there's just more variety in his songwriting, I thought. And he was one of the first, I think him and Eddie Cochran were the first that started coming through as songwriters, and Chuck Berry, of course, doing their own stuff. But I just thought Buddy Holly always had more variety. So he's my favourite rocker from that time. And can we believe he was only 21 when he was killed in that plane crash? But Buddy Holly, make sure you have some of him in your collection. Like you all know, I'm a Mad Bowie fan, and as I say, these are my favourite albums from the 60s. They're not necessarily, I'm not saying they're the greatest albums from the 60s or the best, but they're my favourites and the ones I play from start to finish. And got to have this Bowie's very first album in 1967 called David Bowie. I just love this album. I always have, even as a kid. Now, this isn't an original, sorry Blamo, but it is a 1981 reissue, so it's still quite rare. I've got to have had this for years. And this was his Laughing Gnome period, but Laughing Gnome ain't on this, so don't let it put you off. It was reissued a couple of years ago. All singing, all dancing, all extra tracks in that, but this actual 14-track album, all tracks written by an 18-year-old Bowie. Most of these were recorded in 66 when he was 19. But it's absolutely brilliant. Uncle Arthur, everyone knows Uncle Arthur, but we've got some brilliant tracks. When I Live My Dream is beautiful, we all know that. Little Bombardier, Silly Boy Blue, which he was still performing way into the 2000s. Maids of Bond Street, We Are Hungry Men, Love You Till Tuesday. It's just a brilliant album, and I'll defend this to the hilt, because I know people dismiss his really early stuff as being a bit twee and a bit silly, but it's not. There's a lot of substance to this album. David Bowie from 67. God, I'm being hauled back to the 50s again, because it's Bowie's hero. Little Richard! Here's Little Richard! Wham bam baloo bam ba wham bam boom. This was Little Richard's first album, and it's his best, because every track it's just a proper rock and roll album. I think they recorded it in about 2 hours, as they used to do in those days. Tutti Frutti's on this. Long Tall Sally, Slipping and a Sliding. I think John Lennon did that. Ready Teddy again. Rip It Up. Little Richard. Absolutely brilliant. Right, nope, not in my top 5 yet. This is a CD I've had for a few years. I'm just interested in it, and it's a 2-album CD. There's 2 albums on the one CD, and it's the Jeff Beck Group. But the album that I absolutely adore on this is Truth. And the other album on it is Beckola, which I know a lot of people like as well, but I actually like Truth, this one. And it's the Jeff Beck, but it's Rod Stewart on vocals, and some great tracks on this, and he sounds amazing as well, Rod Stewart. Shapes of Things, which is an old Yardbirds track. Morning Dew, which Lulu did. Bex Bolero, amongst others. But this is a great bluesy rock album, and I love this one. I have always got this in the car, and you can tell because it's knackered. I'll come away. There you go. Jeff Beck. Right, I'm coming into my top 5 now. My 5 favourite albums from the 50s and the 60s. Wonder if you can guess. So let me have a slurp. I love this band. It's the Rolling Stones, and it's Beggars Banquet at number 5. This is the infamous toilet sleeve with all the graffiti on it. It was actually Decca Records censored it and banned it, and I think it came in just in a white sleeve. But anyway, this is obviously a reissue. There they are, the Naughty Boys. But this is the Stones at their peak in the 60s, and it's got everything that you love about the Stones. Proper rock tracks, proper blues tracks, proper ballads. Sympathy for the Devil, No Expectations, Street Fighting Man, Prodigal Son, Stray Cat Blues. My favourite is Jigsaw Puzzle. It's brilliant album from start to finish. They actually did better a bit later on, but that's for another time. So that's number 5, Rolling Stones, Beggars Banquet. Number 4. What will it be? Oh. Could have a Beatles in there, aren't you? It's the Beatles and Revolver. God, this always causes arguments, this Beatles' favourite album. But this is, the only weak one on it is, which don't like, you know, Yellow Submarine. If they got rid of that, this would be absolutely perfect. But it is what it is. But it is still a fantastic album. It's got the Paul Weller rip-off, Taxman. Haha. Eleanor Rigby, I'm Only Sleeping, Here, There and Everywhere, She Said. My favourite on the album, And Your Bird Can Sing. Dr. Roberts on there, For No One. It's just a brilliant album. Far better than, to me anyway, far better than Sgt. Pepper. White Album's good, Rubber Soul's good, but this is just, it's pretty peerless. It's brilliant. Revolver is number 4. God, my top 3 must be absolutely amazing to beat these. That's number 4, Revolver. Number 3, it's a female. Is it Lulu? No. Is it Cher? No. It's Darling Dusty. Dusty in Memphis. Oh, this is a gorgeous album. Her voice is amazing on this. Apparently she was really difficult whilst recording this. Awkward and difficult, but you can see why she absolutely made it almost perfect. Some beautiful singing on this. My favourite on this, which most people know, is Breakfast in Bed, which UB40 did with Chrissy Hynde years later, but her version here is so sexy. I don't want to hear it anymore. Son of a Preacher Man's on this. Just a Little Loving, In the Land of Make Believe, The Windmills of Your Mind. You'll know half of these, even if you're not familiar with the album, you'll know from the radio, but this is just an absolutely stunning album from the 60s. 68, I think this was. Dusty in Memphis is my 3rd favourite album from the 50s and the 60s. Number 2. What's number 2? A bit like the Beatles, could have chose any of 4. But I've gone with number 2, Bob Dylan, Blonde on Blonde. It's a double album, this, and there's not a weak track on it. Actually, the only one that I kind of don't like, which I skip, is the first one, Rainy Day Women. Just grates a little bit, but when you got the CD on, you can skip it forward, so I'm not bothered. But Blonde on Blonde. It's absolutely beautiful, this album. It's just really easy just to listen to. It's not difficult. It's just Dylan at his best, and he makes it seem dead easy. That's the way he's doing it. It's got let's see what we've got. Pledging My Time, Visions of Joanna, One of Us Must Know, I Want You, that was the hit at the time. It's got Sad Eyed Lady of the Lowlands, which takes up all the side 4. It's like about 12 minutes long, but it's gorgeous. Obviously, Five Believers, Absolutely Sweet Marie, Leopard Skin, Pillbox Head, Just Like a Woman. Yeah, it's just a fantastic album. And again, you know, if you want the CD, you can pick it up for about £4 in HMV. It's crazy. But it's absolutely well worth getting. That's Bob Dylan, London Blonde. Yeah. Right, my number 1. Oof. God, I must have heard this first, about 20 years ago. It's hard to explain this album because it did absolutely nothing on release. Then it got deleted, and then a few people started name checking him in the very early 80s. Scott Walker, Scott 4. Again, it could have been Scott 3, but I went with Scott 4 because every track is written by Scott, and every track is absolutely beautiful. It did absolutely nothing on release, which is unbelievable. But people caught onto it now, and it's rightly held up as probably his best work. Of course, we've got the later stuff when he got a bit difficult with Tilt and stuff like that, but this is absolutely brilliant. It's the Seventh Seal. It's like the Seventh Seal. It's a film, and I forgot the director's name, and he'd do this. But the actual song pretty much explains the film. If you watch the film, it's like you're just listening to the Scott Walker song. He does it so well. On Your Own Again, The World's Strongest Man, written for me, Angels of Ashes, Boy Child, Duchess is beautiful, Rhymes of Goodbye, Get Behind Me. Every track on this is absolutely fantastic, all written by Scott. And again, if you go into the shops, you can get this on CD for about £4.99, £5. It's well worth getting. Alright, so they're my 20 favourite albums from the 50s and 60s. You can castigate me below in the comments, or you can agree with me, which no doubt many of you will, because I have excellent taste. Naturally, I'll have to do the 70s sometimes. Best my favourite 20 albums from the 70s, which will be tricky. I'll have to get Jimmy Osmond in there. And with all this stuff that's going on, stay safe, keep 2 meters apart, and all that stuff. And we'll see you online over the next few weeks, no doubt, as we're all dead bored. We'll do it all again soon, so see you later in the week. Ta-da!